And then too.
Hey everybody, welcome to Kingdom of Honor. I am your host, Zanman Shane Subunya, along with my good buddy, the Honorable Jeff. And we got a big week of pro wrestling coming up, Jeff. But we also had kind of a sad week last week.
Yeah, I mean Dynamite this week I felt like was I don't know what it was. Maybe it was all the emotion and everything, but I actually teared up a good dozen times during that.
Tough not to, right?
Well, yeah, especially when you had I mean I like the way they did it with every member of the Dark Order getting a pin. Well, not every member, but the five matches all had Dark Order in them, and everyone got a pin, and it was always at the expense of the biggest dick on the other side.
Yeah.
And it was nice, seeing a guy like Eddie Kingston, who is probably the biggest dick in AEW, come out and say some nice
Wait,
words
wait,
about.
wait, wait. He's a bigger dick than MJF is?
Um, as far as total dickish heel, because I can't stand him. Where
Okay.
MJF I respect, but
Okay.
Eddie I can't stand. Period.
Gotcha.
But I will say MJF got his comeuppance too, and he was over the top when he started going after -1.
Yeah.
Um, but even still, even when people like Eddie and MJF went after the Dark Order and were their biggest dicks, it felt like it was done in respect. It didn't feel like they were just being dicks to be dicks. Remember, we watched that Evolve show and we heard Austin Theory, and we both kind of jumped on him and about bringing in personal lives and everything.
Mm-hmm.
MJF and Eddie, even though they were major dicks throughout this, it didn't feel like they were going crossing lines like Austin Theory did.
No, no, it did not. That's very true. Um, yeah, and and this is usually not my type of wrestling where it's all multi-man tags, but it worked out really nicely that night, I thought. And um, it was, and it was really cool, what happened, what they did at the end of the show too, where they had -1 book the main event, and then they also, gave him, they offered him a contract when he turns 18, and they made him the TNT champion for life. That was all really cool.
So what are they doing? What are they going to do with the TNT Championship now? Is it just dead?
No, I think he's just like an honorary TNT champion for life.
Okay, because I didn't
Because it was
really.
a different TNT belt that they gave him than the one the Darby has.
Yeah, they gave him the original one, the one that wasn't completed, the one that Cody first wore,
Right.
and the one
Well,
that
no,
Brody.
well, no, no, it wasn't. Well, no, that they gave him like a replica of that, or like maybe one version of that, because remember the Dark Order destroyed that original one.
Oh yeah, they gave him the one that his dad used.
Yeah.
They gave him the one that Brodie Lee, when he was a champion, used.
Right.
Um, I don't know. Like I said, I felt like it was well done. I enjoyed the entire night. And you have to be made of steel if Eddie Kingston's little memory didn't get to you.
Right.
You know,
Right. And yeah, I mean, and Jericho's too.
and Moxley to kick it
And,
off.
Moxley to kick it off. Yeah.
And they were all, but I mean, just I think the one that got me the most was Eddie's,
Yeah.
because Eddie just put everything aside. Even it was nothing about wrestling. It was all about him being a father. And that's I felt like that was, and the way he told Brody, uh, Brody Jr. and all that stuff, that how much his dad loved him and all that. It brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah. And and I also like the way that they were able to keep at least, some of the storylines going while they were still doing this, like MJF with Santana and Ortiz.
Right.
Their relationship, their budding relationship slash opportunity for MJF to turn on them,
Right.
and
Exactly.
also the stuff with Death Triangle and Blade and Butcher was they were able to continue that as well. You know,
And how about Lance Archer coming out wearing dressed like Luke Harper? I thought
yeah,
that was impressive too. And I still can't wrap my head around Archer being a face, because it just kind of came out of nowhere. So and it just doesn't make sense to me. He's one of those guys that it never should have turned face.
Yeah, I still don't really see him as a face. I just see him as, he's a guy the fans are cheering at the moment.
Yeah, I guess.
And it was great to see Eric Redbeard come out as well.
Yeah, it was. I'm not a fan of the Eric Redbeard moniker, but
It's not bad at all. I mean, it keeps up the Eric name with the R initial, and he does have a big red beard. So
well, but it almost seems like it he should be a like a Viking or something like that with that name.
yeah, true. I actually didn't even know he'd been released from WWE. So I was amazed to see him out there, and I even thought for a minute, well, what did they give him like special permission to appear one night for them? But
No, I thought wasn't he part of that release back in October, the when they released like fucking half the roster,
what I saw is he
or
was he was
April?
actually released like back in April, like April
Yeah,
26th or
he was
something like
part of
that.
that. He was part of that April massacre, basically, where they released half their roster, released like 15, 16 people.
Yeah, I mean you're right about that, but I hadn't realized it, and I was always such a big Eric Rowan fan. So, but it's great, and it was great to see him again, and I hope that he does stick around and be part of the AEW roster.
Yeah, it'd be nice. That'd be nice. I another question that I thought is how does the Dark Order come back from this? I mean, are they going to be heels? Are they going to be faces? Does Eric Rowan step in as their new leader? And like right now, I can't imagine them being heels anymore.
Well, they said they were teaming with the fan favorites for one night only, but we'll have to
Right.
see how the narrative progresses as the weeks go on. Um, I don't know how they could be faces with the way they're with the way
Their structure and
they're
their setup,
structured and,
yeah.
and their gimmick is. I mean, how many babyface cults are there out there?
But I mean, if you think about it, they've become slowly becoming faces over the last few years or last couple of months because of BTE. I mean, Jonathan Silver is one of the most over people on the roster right now.
Yeah, but you can be over and still over on a TV show and be cheered and still be heels in character
Oh, but he's still
storyline.
he's been a character face. He
I
has
don't think
been.
I don't think so.
I just the way that he's been, I've felt like he's been a face for a while since he started getting over on BTE.
Well, and the same you can say the same thing for Colt Cabana too, because Colt's never, even though he's joined the Dark Order, he's been kind of trying to, still be himself, but be a Dark Order member as well.
Right.
So I mean, it just might be one of those situations where, there's good guys within a quote unquote evil organization. You
Kind of
know.
like Chaos when there were bad guys in a face organization.
Yeah. Savannah, knock it off. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, or yeah, I mean, so I don't really don't know how they're going to do it going forward, or even if the Dark Order should exist going forward. But I guess we'll see how they do it. I mean, Evil Uno has been, kind of leading them lately, and he's been like the de facto leader. So,
Right.
um, and I always kind of thought he was going to be to start with. So I guess we'll see how they decide to go with it from now on.
Yeah, the whole Exalted One thing kind of flipped that on its heels, but
It did, yeah. And maybe that's what maybe that they still got this thing going on with Dustin Rhodes. They've still got, like you said, Eric Rowan coming in. They still got a thing going on with Hangman Page. So there are guys there that could assume that mantle.
right. And they, like if they add Hangman Page though, they're instantly fan favorites, unless he turns on just some dastardly horrible thing. But I can't see him being. He's another guy that I just can't see being a heel ever.
That's fair. Um, yeah, I just think that they do have a really cool opportunity there with Dustin Rhodes to have him kind of turn and be the leader of them.
And
You know,
take over
yeah,
the
be like,
mantle.
I'm not going to be seven, but I will be number one or something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there is that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. For the first time in a long time, I'm excited to see where the Dark Order goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be, yeah, because I mean, it was weird that they said that Brodie Lee was um the best TNT champion of all time because he only held it for like a month, and and it's only been around for a few months, and he only defended it twice. It was kind of that was really a really weird. It was almost like they were, um, I don't know, like they were like rewriting history with that.
Well, they were.
You know? Yeah,
I mean, they absolutely were. There was no doubt about that. That was just their way of building it up before giving it to Brody Jr.
yeah. And I, I'm super. I hate that I hate that he passed away. I've been such a big fan of his for so many years, and I thought he got a raw deal in WWE for all these years. So it's great to me that he came in and he at least had that main event match
Moxley.
against Moxley at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, and even though he
And
lost, he looked good.
exactly, and then he did get that run with the TNT title and that big match against Cody for in that dog collar match. So I mean, it's really cool that happened to him. It's too bad that he got sick right after that and his the last few months of his life were not what anybody would want to have.
Right.
In a hospital with a lung infection, but um, it's. But I'm glad that at least for a few months he got that superstar spot that I thought he always deserved.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it was normal WWE booking with the stop start and all that crap. But I don't know. I'm glad that he got his run. I wish, like you said, we'd gotten a longer run out of him, but we got what we got. We should appreciate what we got. And I just felt like the whole night on Dynamite this week was just phenomenal. Just so well done.
Oh, I completely agree. I really enjoyed it. That's how you do a tribute show. I mean, not that, and I mean, don't get me wrong. We've seen some great ones from WWE as well. We saw great ones when Eddie Guerrero passed away, and then later on with Chris Benoit passed away. We saw one when Owen passed away.
Right.
But I think AEW was was very classy doing theirs as well.
And I'm just blown away with how loved Brody Lee was.
Yeah,
Like,
the other thing to mention about it is, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You say what you're going to say, and then I'll add to it.
no, I was just saying it blows me away at how loved Brody Lee was by everybody. Like, and I told you that last week when we were talking about it. As soon as he passed away, my Twitter just exploded with these great stories about him, and I've
Hmm.
never seen that before with anybody. Like anybody that passes away, wrestling world or not. Like even when Kobe Bryant, I mean, Kobe Bryant was beloved by, fans and teammates and everything, but nothing like this. I've never seen an outpouring of just love for a guy like we saw with Brody Lee. It's everybody. Everybody had something good to say about him. People you didn't even know that had ever crossed his path were
Right.
telling stories of how great of a locker room guy he was and how much of a family man he was and how much he helped them in their career and just everything and everybody that I'm still seeing little tributes paid to him on Twitter, and it's just I don't think I've ever seen that kind of support before, ever.
Yeah, and you know what, and that, and along with the fact that we had that great tribute between him and Kingston. I mean, it really makes me want to see if I can find some like old Kingston versus Brody Lee matches to see like what their story was and what their matches were like.
Well,
You
yeah,
know.
and I started thinking that same thing about I think it was Jericho was talking about how he wrestled against him. There was one other guy that Moxley is the one that talked about it, about how they've been facing off against each other for 14 some years. Well,
Hmm.
they were only in the WWE together for 8.
Right.
So obviously some of that happened beforehand.
Yeah,
Um,
and remember remember one of the times, or actually a couple of times in WWE were those 6-man tags with the Shield versus um, Wyatt family.
yeah, the 2014 one is the one that comes to mind. The one from Elimination Chamber.
The one where the fans were chanting "This is awesome" before they even got in the ring with each other.
Yeah, when they were both teams were standing on the outside of the ring staring at each other and everybody's chanting.
Yeah.
And another one too that kind of like Britt Baker, her being her whole heel character, but still being able to bring in the big rig tribute.
Hmm.
It just I don't know. I can't say anything negative about this show, and it's been a long time since I've been able to say that.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really fun.
The match quality was good.
And 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 you know as good, as good as that was an emotion. I also want to say kudos to them for doing this show the night they were supposed to have a big holiday smash special. It
Right.
was supposed to be the first week of their holiday smash special. The main event was supposed to be Kenny Omega versus Ray Phoenix, and they kind of said, "Fuck that. This is more important. We'll move it. We'll move our shows back a week."
Right.
And how many companies would do that, really? I mean, the thing in the wrestling business has kind of always been, the show must go on, right?
Well, I think the reason they were able to do that is because it's being booked in Jacksonville. So and next week's show is too. So I think it'd be a little bit different if they had sold the card for an outside arena. I don't know if they would have been able to pull that off.
Yeah, that's possible.
So I think, part of the reason why they were able to do it is just because of the times, because, of the times that we're in right now where they're not out on the road. They're stuck in one arena, so it doesn't really matter what the show is this week, because they can change it next week.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah, it was really, like you said, an emotional show. There was a lot of, I like the tributes. I like the fact that all his faction won every single match. Um, MJF took a loss for the third time in his AEW career or something. So I mean, really amazing. Kind of a, and I guess you can like say like, well, it doesn't count as just a tribute show, but still, that kind of that was pretty big.
Well,
So
it was, I think it was his fifth loss, but it's
was it
only the
okay?
third time he's ever been pinned.
That's what I meant. That's I
Yeah,
mean, the third time he's been pinned,
because I know he lost
or
that.
maybe it was only the second time he's been pinned.
No, he's been pinned twice in singles matches.
Well, I know he's
Oh
pinned by
no,
Moxley. Who else did he get pinned by?
actually, you're right. He hasn't. I, for some reason, was thinking Cody, but he didn't lose to Cody. He won.
Right.
So I think maybe you're right. Maybe it is the third loss and second time he's ever been pinned.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he might have lost a tag match with Wardlow as well, possibly. But he wasn't pinned in that one. And then there was that
Six
four-way
man.
match, where he didn't get the pinfall, but he didn't get the victory either.
Well, he
You know,
was also in that six-man match on Fight for the Fallen, the first year in the company, when he
right,
when he teamed with Guevara and Kip Sabian,
right. It
but he didn't lose that match either. Or was it Guevara and Sabian?
was
Uh,
Guevara and somebody. It wasn't. I don't think it was Sabian, but it was Guevara and somebody. But I thought they won that match.
no, they lost, and he blamed. It was somebody that. Oh, Sean Spears. It was Sean Spears because it
Okay,
was right after Spears hit Cody with the chair.
right. Yeah, that's why I think that. But I'm pretty sure they won that match.
I don't know. I thought they lost it. I thought
Okay.
that was one of his losses. I could be wrong though, because I'm trying to think who at the time would have eaten the pin. Would have had to have been Sammy.
Yeah, and I don't think he did. I think Spears pinned somebody in that match. Yeah, he did because there was that because the other team was I can't remember who it was, but it was a three-man team, and they ended up like facing each other in like a triple threat at the pay-per-view or something.
Yeah, it was Janela, Darby Allen, and somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
that,
and basically like Janela trying to get in there, or no, Darby like trying like tagging himself in, like ended up costing him the match or something.
right.
So,
Man, I can't remember who the third guy was. That's depressing.
well, it was over a year ago.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, at the time, it was probably six of their hottest young talent.
Yeah, that's true.
And we can remember five. We just can't remember that fourth one.
Yeah, but maybe somebody isn't even there anymore. That could be.
Jimmy Havoc, maybe?
It was
Because
Jimmy Havoc.
yeah, because
Yep.
Jimmy Havoc was the one that was in that
Yeah,
triple
yeah,
threat.
yeah. Because Havoc was being a dick to and not he wouldn't tag Darby in, and then Darby finally tagged himself in. That's
Right.
right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it was Jimmy Havoc. Well, you're right. It's somebody not with the company anymore.
Yeah.
But
All right.
so yeah, I don't know. Well done, AEW. Proud of what you were able to put out. I'm happy that for once, for in a very long time, I have absolutely nothing negative to say about the show, and it's not because of, what the show represented. If they had bad matches, I would have said so. If they had bad segments, I'd say so. But ultimately, every match I felt like was done perfectly. They may not have all been five-star matches. I don't think any of them were, but they were all done really, really well. And I haven't been able to say that about an AEW show in a long time.
And one thing we didn't talk about was, and then we just mentioned the guy a minute ago, but um, it was had a pretty cool way of kind of showing that after the last few weeks that there really is now an alliance. It looks like between Darby Allin and Sting because they came out together and stuff like that. And so we've got this thing going on now where Sting is going to mentor Darby Allin the way that Taz tried to.
Okay, I take that back. One negative. I still don't get the snow.
I don't get the snow either,
It
but
makes no sense. Like I said, in 30 years, I've never associated Sting with snow.
no, I agree. But that's I think we're just going to have to take that at face value now going forward because that's
Yeah.
they're not going to stop it.
No, unfortunately, they're not. It's just a part of who he is now. But I think if he's gonna be, you know, having snow as an entrance, he needs to kick the crow gimmick.
Sting, blood runs cold.
Just, not go back to that Joker gimmick that he had in TNA for a while.
No, he can just he can be the new Glacier though because blood runs cold.
I wouldn't mind him going back to his main event Mafia gimmick, where he came out in a suit and wearing sunglasses with no face paint and
Um, I think with what they're doing with him now, I don't think that'd be a good idea because I think him with the black and the face paint and stuff is kind of
matching
part of
Darby.
the match exactly matching Darby.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was well done. Other than snow, I can't complain.
Well, so now we talked about this previous week. Let's talk about the week coming up because we got. I mean, we have these weeks where like WrestleMania week and SummerSlam week. They have become like big time weeks in pro wrestling, right?
Right.
This week we've got Wrestle Kingdom week. We've got four outstanding nights of pro wrestling booked. Um, well, four outstanding shows, I should say. Um,
Tonight, tomorrow night, Wednesday night.
yep, and there's two shows on Wednesday night. So
Two shows on Wednesday. Oh, NXT is having a good show too.
yeah,
Huh.
you would usually you and I do well when we're able to do it and we and we feel like doing it. We do the live editions of NXT I'm sorry of AEW Dynamite
Right.
and uh, and this week, despite the fact that a match I've been looking, a match that I really want to see in Kenny Omega versus Ray Phoenix is going to main event. If I were going to watch one of the shows live that night, and I'm not convinced that I am still, if I were, it would not be AEW Dynamite. It would be New Year's Evil for NXT.
Okay, I need to know what's going on there because I have, like I said, have not been caught up. Last thing I watched with NXT was War Games. Haven't seen or heard anything about it since. Is UE still faces? What's going on there?
They are. Um, so one of the very best matches, Jeff, of 2020 and the NXT match of the year in 2020 was Finn Balor defending the NXT championship against my boy, Kyle O'Reilly, right?
That was the
And
NXT match of the year?
that was the NXT match of the year.
Over that DIY Mustache Mountain match?
Yes.
I guess I didn't
Actually, that
watch it, so I can't.
actually that wasn't that actually wasn't even nominated. You didn't watch Finn Balor versus Kyle
I
O'Reilly?
haven't seen it yet. It's on
Wow.
my list of
Okay,
stuff to do.
gotcha.
Have
Um,
Jacob get it for you.
and Kyle O'Reilly had an outstanding match against Pete Dunne 2 weeks ago to determine who was going to be facing Finn Balor for the NXT Championship at New Year's Evil,
Yeah.
and O'Reilly beat Dunne. So now we've got Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly 2, or as Finn Balor has been saying, Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly, the end. Kyle and O'Reilly said that Last time, Finn, I broke your jaw. This time I break your legacy.
Didn't
So
yeah, O'Reilly broke his jaw in the last match, didn't he?
yeah, Balor like hit O'Reilly so hard in the liver that Riley struggled through the end of the match, and O'Reilly hit Balor with a running knee strike, basically like a V trigger to Finn that broke his jaw, and he had to get steel plates put in three places.
Wow.
So that's the main event,
Okay.
and so I'm super looking forward to that. Um, we've also got Karrion Kross's return match versus Damian Priest. We have a
Well, considering
Go ahead.
how far Punishment Martinez slash Damian Priest has come over the
Hmm.
last year, I mean, I started seeing him improve a lot when he was in Ring of Honor.
Yep.
And then, I felt like they had a misstep when they debuted him as Punishment Martinez. Maybe that was just some way to kill the character. But I feel like he's nailed everything he's done as Damian Priest.
He has, and he's actually become a babyface too.
Well, yeah, he's been going up against the Heart of Evil, Johnny Gargano. So,
Oh, speaking of Johnny Gargano, so I don't know if you know this, but he and Candice LeRae and Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell are now a stable called The Way, and and you know what Johnny Gargano's nickname is, right?
no, I
Johnny Wrestling.
oh yeah, yeah, that I knew. I didn't know if he had a new
and
one because
and
of
you
the
know
name.
and you know how Candice LeRae they call when for a while she was Mrs. Wrestling because
Right.
when she was a babyface. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, they had a holiday party a few weeks ago for the Way, and they gave Indy Hartwell like a blender or something, and then Johnny goes, "But your real gift is that we're going to bestow upon you the Gargano family nickname. So from now on, you can be referred to as wait for it, indie wrestling."
Ugh. I'm glad Austin Theory's in NXT. I think he can shine there. I felt like he, like a lot of people, once they get called up to the main roster, really flounder. I, if we go all the way back to 2014, how many NXT call-ups have actually become something on WWE proper? And I'm not talking the women because every one of them have, but um, as far as the men go, maybe a handful,
Yeah, not many. Shinsuke Nakamura probably. You'd have their Kevin Owens definitely.
yeah.
Um, Sami
Sam,
Zayn.
but Sammy took a long time and a heel turn to do it.
Yeah, Finn did it first.
But
But
after he got broke, after he broke his separated,
collarbone.
yeah, after that,
Yeah,
I mean, they just gave up on him.
yeah. I mean, he didn't right. I mean, I think he was Intercontinental Champion a couple times, but not much after that. Um, yeah, but you're right. I mean, they're few and far between, really.
I think right now you'd have to say McIntyre and Keith Lee. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, and then Kevin Owens. If I go with the ones that from day one were a star and they continue to be, it'd be Kevin Owens, it'd be McIntyre, it would be probably Keith Lee, and honest to God, I can't think of another one. Tag
Not
team or
not Shinsuke.
no, because Shinsuke they faltered with, and is he even still with the company?
He is.
Oh, is he? Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe you could say Shinsuke, but I felt like Shinsuke has never reached the potential that he should have, and he is never, he has stops and starts. Where
Yeah,
Kevin Owens has
he
been a bona fide star since he debuted on the roster.
yeah. I think Shinsuke. I mean, I think I'd be hard pressed to say that they have not done well with Shinsuke. Yeah, he's never been like the champion there, right? But he or on either brand, but he's been, he held the Intercontinental Championship how many times? He won the Royal Rumble.
That is true.
He had a great main event at WrestleMania. Um, so I think that Shinsuke maybe didn't reach the levels that we wanted him to, but saying that he did not succeed from NXT would be wrong.
Yeah,
So,
and I forgot about the Royal Rumble win. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Um, okay, so continuing down the card for New Year's Evil, we also have Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher in a fight pit match. Um, so that I don't. Have you ever seen the fight pit, Jeff?
No, but I have seen their match, and all I want to do is see them wrestle again.
Okay. So and the fight pit is they're surrounded by a steel cage with no ropes on the ring, and it's either submission or knockout to win.
Okay.
The only other one was Timothy Thatcher versus Riddle, which I have not seen, but hopefully I'll get a chance to watch it before Wednesday because I kind of want to watch that and then watch this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try and watch that too. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Um, yeah, I don't know. I might have to get caught up on some NXT. I think NXT after that whole cinematic Pete Dunne looking all distraught as he got beat down kind of turned me on NXT, and I
Yeah,
haven't really been into it since.
I can understand that. I was turning on it before that personally, but I've really enjoyed it lately. We've also got the last woman standing match between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez.
Okay, that could be fun.
And then the other, so then this is like a a takeover type card. And then the other match that was just booked this last week is Santos Escobar defending the NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Grand Metalik. So
I don't know either one of those two.
you know Grand Metalik.
Yeah, but I don't know that I've ever actually seen him wrestle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so that's 4 out of 5. So what's the fifth one?
No, that's all five of them. Balor defending the title against Kyle
No, no,
O'Reilly.
no. I'm talking about shows.
Oh. Okay.
Because we got, the AEW's got a big show with Kenny and Ray.
I
Um,
think I misspoke. There's actually four. There's four. There's,
four and three
there's
nights.
yeah, 4 and 3 nights.
Okay.
So
I was gonna
all right.
say I didn't think there was really anything else. I didn't. Ring of Honor doesn't have a show. Um, I can't get behind. Oh, and for some reason I don't know why, but on Friday night, I flipped on SmackDown,
Yeah.
and the reason I kind of brought that up about people coming from, and I'm not saying the Forgotten Sons were anything super special in NXT, especially not without I can't remember his name now, but their big dog leader. Um, but to see Cutler and Blake without beards on the WWE roster as lackeys to Baron Corbin just disgusts me the same again. Because I don't know what it is about the main roster, but why they can't accept that people can be over as one character. As soon as they turn up on the main roster, they have to be changed. Did I lose you? Shane, did I lose you?
No, my computer's being very slow and
Oh,
unmute me. I'm here. So
oh, okay.
I went mute because I had to blow my nose really bad.
Ah,
So
okay. All right,
I
fair
didn't.
enough.
You don't want to hear that, or listeners hear that. So
Wow.
um yeah that's been a problem over time. But I do think that that it makes sense that those guys would come in and be related to Baron Corbin. So
Yeah, but why not? I mean, for the life of me, I can't remember that other gun. He used to be Gunner in TNA or in Impact, but I can't remember what they were calling him in NXT.
I never really paid that much attention to the Forgotten Sons to remember that
I
kind of
mean,
stuff.
like I said, they were nothing overly special, but when you look back at all of the call-ups, this is just what happens. I mean, they may not have been overly special, but they had some decent matches. They, had some decent storylines. I still remember that six tag team title ladder match that they had.
Hmm.
That I felt like was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Um, and they were a big part of that. But it's just they got over in NXT with the Forgotten Sons gimmick and the beards and all that stuff. Why bring them in and completely change it? Makes no sense to me. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean that's very true. However, let's also Um, maybe just mention the fact that we didn't they weren't that great in NXT, and they weren't somebody that maybe we would have seen as guys really call up over other people, but now they're getting they're at least getting a shot on SmackDown to try to be somebody.
Mm, well, I saw their performance. They're not trying to be somebody.
Well,
I
okay.
mean, I'm trying to. They
And and,
remind
and
me
and
of
and I guess really I don't care enough about SmackDown to care about it.
right.
So,
They remind me of the Edgeheads when the Major Brothers became the Edgeheads.
and that was amazing for them.
Yeah, but neither one of them really got over after that. And I don't know. It's just one of those. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of taking something that was working and changing it just for the sake of changing it.
Well, I'm not a big fan of SmackDown, so
Yeah, that's a good point. Me either. And like I said, I wanted to see there was a Keith Lee versus Baron Corbin match that for some reason I wanted to see that, and I tuned in, and that's what was on. And yeah, it was just disappointing, I guess, be the
yeah,
best way to say it.
I don't know why you'd want to see that match.
I I can't even explain it.
Okay,
It was just I was sitting here, I saw it, I'm like, hey, that might be a good match, and um,
and you were wrong.
we weren't doing anything anyways, so I turned it on and immediately turned it off right afterwards. It was it was bad. It was just bad.
So should we run down the Wrestle Kingdom cards?
Yep, might as well.
All right. So there's some announced matches announced for these nights that are announced that are marked as dark matches. So whether that means that they're dark as far as not being part of the Wrestle Kingdom pay-per-view, or they're going to be available to watch on the pre-show on NJPW World, I have no idea. But the first dark match, well, the dark match on night one, I should say, is a 22-man New Japan Rambo. So their version of the Royal Rumble,
Right.
and then the winner of that the winner of that is going to be part of the provisional KOPW 2021 match on night two. So I don't even know who's announced for that, but I mean that's just one match on there. I'm not sure. It'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to watch. So I hope it's on the pre-show. But whether not that I care very much about the 2021 KOPW trophy.
Well, there's two staples that have become staples of Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep,
One is that Battle Royal.
yep,
So you know that's coming. The other one is the six-man tag gauntlets.
yeah. That's not happening this time.
Really? Because that's happened the last 5 years, last
Yeah,
4 years.
I can I can look at night two, but night one doesn't. And we'll after we talk about night one, but night two does not. Night one at least does not have any 6-man matches
Oh,
on there.
interesting.
Okay, now you remember how Hiromu Takahashi won Best of the Super Juniors,
Hmm.
and then the next night El Phantasmo won Super J Cup.
Yep.
Well, they're facing each other on night one to determine who is going to wrestle for the cruiserweight title or I'm sorry, the junior heavyweight title on night two. So we have Hiromu Takahashi versus El Phantasmo on night one of Wrestle Kingdom.
That's going to be amazing.
Yep, sure will be. I am very much looking forward to that one. Um, you got to pick for a winner there.
Who's the champion?
The champion is Bone Soldier
Okay, then it's Takahashi.
Ishimori.
Yeah, Takahashi will win it then.
I hope it's Phantasmo.
Yeah, I would love to see it too, but I just don't see that happening. Not with the way Wrestle Kingdom books.
You don't see Bullet Club versus Bullet Club on night two.
No, and tag team partners versus tag team partners, not at Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, if it happens naturally in like the G1 or the Best of Super Juniors, then yeah, but not as a Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah, or maybe one of the New Beginning shows will do that. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know, but it's Takahashi's gonna win that. That's just as long as
I,
Ishimori is the junior heavyweight champion, then there's no way that Phantasmo wins it.
yeah, you're right. All right, so next match is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Great Okan.
Wow. You can, wow. I mean, okay,
How the mighty have fallen, right?
right, exactly. It's like last year he was main eventing, or was it 2 years ago he was main eventing, and now, wow. I mean, I get it.
Right,
He's
right,
at the
right,
tail end
right.
of his career, but
Right. 2 years ago, he main evented against
Omega.
Kenny Omega. Last year, he semi main evented with against Chris Jericho, and then this year he's against the Great O'Khan. And
I,
this is a little bit of a grudge match, stemming from the fact that the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb beat Hiroshi Tanahashi and shoot, who's that other guy? Um, Tanare in about 1.5 minutes during one of the World Tag League matches.
okay. I just, I, I mean, the only reason I can see this happening is to possibly get over a member of the Empire.
Yeah, and give Tanahashi something to do is the other thing.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise there is no reason for this match to take place, and to have Tanahashi in that low a profile match.
Yep.
When he's still I mean, granted, he's at the tail end of his career. He's at that point to be the guy to put other people over. But this kind of reeks to me of Jericho versus uh, who is that disco dancer? Fandango.
Yeah.
Fandango.
Oh yeah, from like what was that WrestleMania 29?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
what, 6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that time, we all thought that Jericho was at the end of his career, and he's gone on and had, 6 stellar years since then. But yeah, that just makes no sense.
Um, here's another one that's kind of weird. So Kenta is still the rights holder for the IWGP US Championship match that is probably never going to happen because John Moxley is the champion, or
Right.
John. But so he's defending the rights holder certificate against. Wait for it. Still waiting. Ready for a letdown? Satoshi Kojima.
Is that any bigger of a letdown than Tanahashi?
Yeah, but I didn't make you wait for that. So
No, but it's starting to scream to me because January 4th has always been the big Wrestle Kingdom night.
yep.
It's been the big show, the big deal.
Rhaegar.
Even last year, I felt like night one was more important than night two. Even though, outside of that one match, but overall, I felt like the card was more important on night one than night two. This just is like, it almost feels like they're just trying to fill time right now.
Well, I think having that a match for that briefcase is good, but I think Satoshi Kojima is a weird choice for it. I mean, Kojima hasn't had a singles match on Wrestle Kingdom in probably 10 years. And so for him to have a match there for the U.S. title shot is well, speaks first of all, speaks probably to how limited their roster is right now.
Right.
But secondly, to like you said, like killing a little bit of time. I do think it's kind of in lieu of being a U.S. championship match, but Kojima is a weird choice for that. I mean, I would rather see Juice Robinson there, like
But
like Kenta versus Juice or Kenta versus Finley would be a lot better.
right. I mean, at this point, if we're going to book matches like this, why not just do a one night show again? Everybody would have understood because of current situation. I don't know. It just that just I don't know. Okay, what's the next match? Maybe it'll get better.
It will,
All
because the
right.
next match is Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Have
Yeah,
they had their one-on-one blow off since Osprey turned?
they have not.
Okay, good.
No, this is I do I mean I'm sure I have not been watching the New Japan Road shows. I'm sure there's been some tags and 6-man tags with them involved, but they have not had a one-on-one match. It's the only time they've had what do they have, like 4 one-on-one matches in their history? Once at the anniversary show when Osprey was junior heavyweight champion and Okada was heavyweight champion. Two in the and then two at G1. So I think this would be their fourth one.
No, this will be their fifth because they had 2 straight years where they had that junior heavyweight versus heavyweight match.
Was it really 2 straight
It was
years?
2 straight years, and both of them were phenomenal matches.
Okay, so it's their fifth time. Okay.
Yeah.
but it's the first one since Ospreay's been a heel.
Been a heel and turned on Okada. Remember, that's who he turned
Right,
on.
right.
So there's a lot. That's I hope it's not. Well, I hope it's as good as the Jay White versus Okada match was 2 years ago. Last year was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Granted that was a short match, but ultimately it was amazing.
And then we've got Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi, so Dangerous Tekkers defending the World Tag Team titles against Guerrillas of Destiny.
Unless the Dangerous Tekkers win this, there's no point for this match either, other than to give Gorilla's Destiny another title run.
Yeah, it's heel versus heel, but it's also like exciting guys against boring guys. I really, you and I have become like big fans of Tai Chi over the last year or so,
Yeah,
and we've always been big fans of Zack Sabre Jr. Whereas the Guerrillas of Destiny, I think, fizzled out for me a couple years ago.
I think they
So
fizzled out, but I still enjoyed their matches against, the Briscoes. Was it last year?
it was a year and a half ago or so.
Was it? Okay. And I mean, but you're right. They seem to always be the reset button people. And,
Exactly.
I, I just don't want to see them champs again. So unless the Techers pull this off, but who's going to out heel who? Oh, and has he grown his beard back? Because there's something really weird about um, Tongaloa not having a beard.
Nope, they're both clean shaven with short hair.
Oh my God, Tongaloa cut his hair too?
Yep.
Oh my God! The first time I saw that on NJPW Strong, I've never been able to get used to it since.
I don't blame you,
What's
but
the point? What's the point? I don't. Why would they do that?
I have no idea. You're right. They look very very weird. Um, and then the main event, of course, is Tetsuya Naito defending the heavyweight and intercontinental championships of the double gold against Kota Ibushi.
Is he is he defending both belts or just one?
Both.
Okay, this would have been a good time to take one of those two belts off of him. Because the fact we're now a full year, and he had said he wanted to defend them separately. He'd even do them both on the same show. At some point, they need to split those titles up again.
I agree. The issue is that they had already announced that whoever won Ibushi versus Jay White would wrestle for the double gold at Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm.
So, but I'm really hoping, like you, that once Wrestle Kingdom is over, those titles start being defended separately.
Even do a triple threat, maybe like Benoit, Angle, and Jericho did
Mm-hmm.
when Angle was
Oh,
the
God,
inter.
that's a great match on a
The,
very underrated show.
yeah, I mean, because wasn't Angle like the European champion and the Intercontinental champion?
Yep, and he, and he,
And
and he, and he didn't get pinned. He didn't get pinned in the match and lost both titles.
yep, but it was whoever got the first pin was the European, whoever got the second pin was the Intercontinental.
I think it's the other way around, but still the same point remains is that Jericho pinned Benoit to be the European champion, and Benoit pinned Jericho to be the Intercontinental champion, and then
Right,
Angle left without the title and did not lose.
right. And that,
And then the next night, Eddie Guerrero had China help him win the European title from Jericho, so Jericho held the title for like less than 24 hours or
right.
something.
Yeah, that was a great match. But I think they're going to end up having to do something like that because if they're not going to let them defend it on twice on the same night, then um, they're going to have to do something because that those belts need to be split up. It's been a year.
Especially considering the fact that the U.S. title is nowhere to be found. I
Right,
mean, I mean, if they, if New Japan Pro Wrestling for a long time has had their Triple Crown. Their title has been the Triple Crown Championship because three titles were combined, and
right.
I wouldn't have a problem with that happening in NJPW if we didn't also have like no U.S. title. So really the Never titles become their de facto um, mid card championship.
Yeah, because like you said, they've two major titles aren't being defended.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it that way, because yeah, granted it's for the double gold, but that's one less title match.
Exactly.
And
So
then
I
I don't know if they're ever going to bring Moxley back or not, or if they're just going to eventually strip him of the belt.
yeah, I have no idea. I mean, if they were going to combine championships, I would much rather like the well, I don't know. I guess I can't say that either because the U.S. title I think is going to be important if they ever actually have a touring portion of their company in U.S. You know.
Well, I think they just continue on with NJPW Strong. I think that show's been very good to watch. Okay, when I watched it,
Yeah, it's not a bad show, but my point is that they're. I think the U.S. title is important for them to have if they do have a touring show or even New Japan Strong to have a
right,
championship for those guys to challenge for.
right,
You know.
yeah, yeah.
So I guess they really can't combine that with anything. But I would I'd like to have that title split up at some point.
Well, night one has a couple of strong matches, but they ultimately are not. Um, it doesn't sound like an overly great show, and
No, I
maybe
mean,
because of those two stinkers in the middle.
yeah, I agreed. The main event should be great. The tag title match could be great. It just depends on which girls of Destiny show up, really.
Right.
Um, and and then of course Okada versus Osprey is a dream match, and Takahashi versus El Phantasmo is kind of a dream match too. So I mean, there's really four. There's three, possibly four strong matches in that on that show.
The only problem is that at least two of those matches, the outcome is pretty much already determined.
You
Like
think so?
as long as Ishimori's a champion, there's no way that Phantasmo wins, and I just can't see them booking White versus Ibushi again when they just had that as the main event of a pay-per-view.
Gotcha. Yeah, but you know what? I said the same thing last year about Wrestle Kingdom. Remember, I said that there's no way that Ibushi is going to beat Okada and then be the one challenging Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, and that happened. So
Yeah, but that was a night one challenge. That wasn't the finals challenge. I mean, they had to put him somewhere, and everybody wanted to see White versus Naito.
well, I guess we'll see what happens, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
But I
So
mean, there's a couple of strong matches. I don't feel like Ibushi should be in that spot. I feel like he lost his title. He should not, or he lost his opportunity. He should have lost his opportunity. No need for them to defend the heavyweight title on both shows, but ultimately, when two of your championships are missing, you kind of have to.
I agree. I mean, and I really am with you in that I'd rather Wrestle Kingdom just be one night. I thought it was cool for 1 year, but I didn't think they needed to do it again.
Well, not this year
Um,
when
eh,
they're putting in two low-level filler matches on a Wrestle Kingdom card.
I would really, I really liked when we would watch, and I know, and maybe they were in a can't win situation also because I know that you were one of the ones that were complaining about how long Wrestle Kingdom cards were getting, as well. But I really liked it when we had like those 3 straight hours of title match after title match after title match.
Yeah, which is what I felt like they should have always done, but then they started bringing in grudge matches and new title belts, and it just got to be too cluttered. But I think probably my favorite was WrestleMania 10 and or Wrestle Kingdom 10 and Wrestle Kingdom 11 because I felt like those were right around the right length, about 3.5 hours. Every match was a classic in the on paper, um, and I wish they would have left that format.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we've got night two. So the first two matches listed are dark matches, which are Stardom matches. We have Mayu Iwatani and Tom Nakano versus Shuri and Julia, and we have a six-woman tag: Saya Kamatani, Azumi, and Utami Hayashishita versus Maika Netsupoi and and makeup. The only one of those ones I know at all is my Iwatani. So I really can't comment on those other than I would love those also be on the pre-show just so we get a little bit of Stardom action to start our nights off with. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I recognize one of those names, and it's the one you said.
Yeah.
But I'm not overly excited about either one of those.
Well, it's hard for us to be because we don't really know the promotion and we don't have a Stardom membership and if it's something that we chose to follow we'd probably would take a backseat to everything else that we cover.
Exactly,
So
exactly. I don't know. I mean,
although there are people out there that think Stardom is the best wrestling promotion on the planet, male or female.
yeah, I mean, but you get that out of everywhere. There's always going to be people that have their favorites.
Yeah, but I mean guys that people that whose opinion I really trust like Miz fan.
Oh,
Stardom is pretty much his favorite promotion out there.
oh,
So.
well,
Uh,
maybe someday we'll have to check it out.
And then we've got. See, I don't understand how that Rambo is working the night before. So maybe it's the top four people left in that are going to face for the provisional KOPW 2021 trophy because this says TBA versus TBA versus TBA versus TBA. So
Okay, wait a minute. Isn't Toru Yano the champion?
he was the 2020 champion.
Okay, so now he's just no longer the champion and it moves to 2021?
Correct.
What?
Yeah, basically like you have a trophy for the 1 year and you defend that trophy and then it starts over the next year.
Okay, but does the championship ever change hands?
If somebody beats him for that trophy in one of the matches, yeah.
Okay, then, so if somebody beats him for the trophy during the match, they're just going to be the champion for the remainder of the year?
Then they're the provisional champion until they lose it, and then whoever is the champion at the end of the year is the official KOPW champion for that year.
But is that even a championship
No,
if you can't defend it
not
past
really.
December 31st?
Hey, you asked Kazuchika Okada. He's the one that came up with this thing.
Oh, wasn't he like one of the best wrestlers in the world?
Yes.
And I say wasn't he because, dude, you just fell down about 14 notches for even coming up with this idea. I
And then the 15th and 16th is as a result of using that stupid money clip as his finisher now.
yeah. Ugh.
Now we get back into outstanding stuff with Shingo Takagi defending the Never Openweight Championship against Jeff Cobb.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a brutal battle.
That is going to be fun. And I can see Cobb winning it because of the new faction.
Yep.
I hope he doesn't because like I said, I mean, Shingo's only really defended against one heavyweight, right? In Minoru. And
Yes, I believe
and
so.
he didn't defend it. He lost when he defended, but then he won it back.
Then he won it back from him. Yep.
So, I want Shingo to beat Cobb just because I think he needs to beat some heavyweights. But
I think he also did decent in G1, right? Didn't he finish with like 10 points in G1?
I don't remember.
Which would have meant that he beat five heavyweights in G1 as well.
I don't remember, honestly.
I think he did. I think he did. Um, Remember how we had grudge match night one with where one guy turned heel on the other guy, where Kazuchika Okada or Will Ospreay turned heel on Kazuchika Okada rather.
Right.
Well, now we've got the other grudge match where one guy turned heel on the other one, but these guys are longtime stablemates that were also tag team World Tag League winners 2 years in a row, World Tag Team Champions 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and you did
We
call
got
this one too.
we've got Sonata versus Evil.
Good. Finally, and hopefully it's an actual grudge match and there's actual emotion in it.
Yeah,
Because I didn't like the fact that, the one match on the G1 was just kind of blah.
yeah. I do like this is the second year in a row that Sonata's getting a big singles match. Remember last year he was against Zack Sabre Jr. for the British Heavyweight Championship.
Right, right,
Now he's against Evil, and you and I have loved Evil's gimmick ever since the turn too. So
right.
this is
I,
going to be a fun match for both of us, I think.
I still hit miss his old music with the sigh though. or the Sith or whatever it's called.
Scythe.
I still miss that old music. That was still my favorite.
No, his new music is so much better. You're so wrong about that.
I don't know. It's just anyway. Um, good. Hopefully it's an actual match. Hopefully
Yeah,
it's and hopefully it's a brutal grudge match. I don't want to see this just good wrestling match like with no real hard feelings like we saw. It wasn't the G1, it was New Japan Cup, wasn't it?
well, no, it was the turn at New Japan Cup. Their match where there didn't seem any hard feelings was in the G1, and then
Yeah.
Sonata really beat the shit out of him in the World Tag League final
Okay.
night.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that we see that Sonata that's fired up, attack at all costs Sonata again.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping so too.
All right, so then we've got the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. Yoshinobu Kanemaru returning from injury to team with one of my favorites, El Desperado, against Ryusuke Taguchi and Master Wato. So I really don't know how to feel about this match because
It's
you had
another
Taguchi's not a guy I like very much. Wato I haven't really liked his gimmick since his return, but I am a huge fan of Desperado.
Yeah, this is just another filler match that could have been in a Road 2 show that didn't need to be on that didn't need to um, be put on the card. It's just looking like it's on the card to make it a two-night thing.
Kind of, yeah. And you and I are not fans of those junior heavyweight titles still existing anyway. So.
Well, considering they haven't been anything since the Bucks left. I
And even when the Bucks were still there, they just basically like had two teams in the division and then would like invent a third team to challenge every so often.
right. I mean, ever
You
since the Bucks left, I mean, Yo and Show are there, but they haven't really been for almost a year now since Yo got injured.
hmm
And but outside of Roppongi 3K, that there has not been a standard tag team. I mean, I guess they did have Ishimori and Phantasmo for a while. They had the Birds of Prey for a while, but nothing to get excited about.
know what? You just mentioned Show. We mentioned Yano earlier, but those two, along with Ishii and Goto, are probably the biggest names that are not on this card. So, and of course Minoru Suzuki. So probably four of those five guys are going to be the four that are wrestling for that IWGP, for that KOPW professional title, right?
For that comedy title,
Yeah.
who the only person that actually fits is Toru Yano.
Well, it's a comedy title right now, but really the idea is that it's for gimmick champion. It's for a gimmick championship. So that also fits the other three of the other four guys as well. So I guess Show is kind of going to be the odd man out here, right? Because you could see Ishii, Goto, Yano, or Suzuki having that gimmick title, right?
Yeah, but those would all be like hardcore match. The one thing that I've always appreciated about NJPW is they haven't relied on gimmick matches.
hmm
And this whole thing is a gimmick title.
It is.
And that's one of the few things like, I mean, I've only seen what one ladder match in NJPW history, two, because there was Elgin and Kenny, and then there was one other one, wasn't there?
The only one I know of is Elgin versus Kenny.
Okay, so maybe Elgin versus Kenny is the only one. I've never really seen a tables match or a ladder match. There's no stupid Hell in a Cell. There's no cage matches. It's just that's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about NJPW, and this just is. I don't know. Do they need it for ratings? Do they need to have Okada with something to do? I don't get it.
I don't either. It's very very strange. Because you're right. I mean, usually the most gimmicky they get is either no holds barred type match or like hair versus hair.
Or like
And
a four way dance, or something.
yeah, yeah. I guess I don't think of like I don't even though they really are. I don't typically think of like triple threats or fatal four way type matches as gimmick matches. I mean, I realize that they are, but to me, it's more like when you have like a strap, or you've got the cage, or you've got brass knuckles or something.
Yeah,
You
and the
know,
only reason I look at four-way and triple threats is because they just have no rules.
yeah, and I know 2 out of 3 falls technically also a gimmick type match as well, and we've seen those. But I think I think you're largely right as in that this is just a way to introduce a gimmick, every so often for that trophy, which is, and it's basically become throwaway matches.
Well, and it's a stupid trophy because the champion doesn't stay the champion until the champion's defeated. Anyway, let's move away from that because I don't want to get on it again.
And then we've got Taiji Ishimori defending the junior heavyweight championship against most likely most likely Hiromu Takahashi.
Which their first match was great.
Yeah,
This match
well,
will be
yeah,
great too.
yeah. These guys they've never had a bad match against each other.
No, I mean, and Takahashi up until he was in the running for my wrestler of the year before the whole thing started.
COVID.
Yeah, I mean
Okay,
it was him and Osprey that were my top two picks, and
right.
now that I think about it, I don't even know who I'd give the wrestler of the year to. Probably still Osprey. I mean, even though
Well,
Osprey was off our TVs for quite a while, he was still solid when he was, and his heel turn, his character change, everything about that has been great.
yeah, we were going to talk about that at some point, weren't we?
Yeah,
Let's figure that. What if I pick another day to do that?
I mean, I don't know who else other than that because we did kind of get off our whole Ring of Honor and stuff. We had three or four wrestlers from Ring of Honor. We had AJ in there. We had some certain people, but I think as far as current, I'll have to think more about it. But I think right now I'd still have to go Osprey.
Yeah, and like I said, we didn't think more about it, but I'm still probably on Kenny. I still probably would go with Kenny personally.
Ah, no, yeah, you're right. Kenny did have a great. Okay, yeah, we got to think about this
And
because
then we've got. Go ahead.
I mean, Kenny is one of the few that we saw week in and week out.
Yeah.
Even during COVID, during all that stuff. Yeah, we got to think about that. We'll do a show about that maybe at some point.
And then we've got the main event of Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, main event of Wrestle Kingdom overall, which is Jay White facing the winner of Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito for the double gold.
So Jay White versus Naito.
Most likely.
Do you think they pull the trigger and finally have a Gaijin win?
No.
I'm
No,
just
I don't.
happy that Jay White is getting the spot I thought he should have had 2 years ago.
Because the reason I don't think so is because I do think they're going to separate those titles, and I don't think Jay White would be willing to do that. So I
Yeah.
so I think Naito will defend the double gold for a while, and then eventually, by the time that we get to Dominion again, those belts will be separated.
Hey, maybe we'll have Kota interfere and set up their triple threat match for um, New Year's Dash and separate the titles then.
Oh, that's right. We have New Year's Dash too, don't we?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I forgot about that.
I mean,
So it so
are
so
they
it is
gonna
so is
do
it
New Year's
so
Dash
it, so
though?
it is so it is going to be 5 shows in 3 nights.
Oh, that's right. Because
I
yeah,
was
New
right.
Year's
I was right.
Dash
I
is
was right.
gonna
I was
be
right the first time.
New Year's Dash will be on Wednesday with
Yeah.
the other three
Yeah.
or
Crazy.
two. Wow, what a week.
Yeah. I should have taken Wednesday off too. Oh well.
I didn't get Monday off. Doesn't look like I'm gonna get Tuesday off, so I unfortunately am not gonna be able to watch them live, but I will definitely be watching them during the day.
And so you guys, Imp and I will be with you early tomorrow morning and early Tuesday morning talking about Wrestle Kingdom shows that are early. It's 1 o'clock um, Central Time, so 2 o'clock Eastern Time Monday morning. So tonight, basically, and then 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Central Time Tuesday morning / Monday night.
Jesus,
So
you guys aren't even gonna hit the airwaves until like 4 a.m.
probably more like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I kind of wish I'd gotten that off, but I'm too old to stay up that late now.
And then I guess we can briefly talk about if you want the Dynamite card. Um, your Smash
All right,
Night
well,
One.
filibuster for a couple seconds then, if we're gonna talk about that.
We don't have to. I mean, if we want to go, we can go.
No, I just have to go to the bathroom. That's all. So filibuster.
All right. So yeah. So Imp and I will be with you guys for two straight mornings talking about Wrestle Kingdom. Jeff won't be able to join us, unfortunately, so no three-man weave this time around. But Imp and I will be there, faux show, and talking about these great nights of wrestling. This Wrestle Kingdom is you know wrestling Christmas now for me, basically, like WrestleMania used to be before WWE has got something to be something that I can barely stomach, much less watch and or stand. So I wish this was compacted into one card. You know what? Maybe they could have gotten rid of those two number one contenders matches, or they could have gotten rid of the Tanahashi versus Great-O-Khan. But then where do you put Tanahashi on these cards? Maybe Tanahashi versus Kenta would have been good for that U.S. Championship match, but we just saw that, right? Um, you can get rid of the stupid KOPW 2021 trophy, which is just ridiculous. And you don't need those junior heavyweight tag titles. Although I know they've been a staple for a long time, but I'm really still a major proponent of having just one tag team division. The having to invent tag teams for both titles is just silly, rather than just having like an ongoing tag division with a few teams in there. So I mean, there are plenty of opportunities here where they could have scrapped these things and come up with a decent like 4.5 5 hour card for one Wrestle Kingdom night. That's not the way they chose to go, so I don't think it's going to be as exciting as we have seen in years past. Like I mentioned, Wrestle Kingdom 10, 9, 11, 12, 13. But it'll still be two fun nights of pro wrestling that I'm looking forward to watching and then talking over with Imp the next morning, and then with Jeff whenever he's able to talk about them with me.
I should be able to talk about it on whenever we do our next show, if we're gonna do it Wednesday or not. I don't know. You kind of made a point when we do the live shows. We're not really talking wrestling. We're talking about what's on the show.
Yeah.
So it's not. It 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 was a good concept when we did the Dynamite After Dark, but I think as far as us doing what we do, it doesn't make as much sense.
Hmm.
I don't know. We have to talk more about it, but I'm kind of enjoying the Sunday morning thing when I can actually remember it.
Yeah, it's not a bad time. All right. So for Dynamite, so this is week one of New Year's Smash. Jeff, we're going to, I know you're excited about this. We're going to have an appearance by Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I don't understand what the point of that is, though.
I don't either.
I mean, is it just because of their new show that they're having, and he's like, is he the host of that show or something? Or his
Pro-
appearance doesn't
Yeah,
make sense to me.
yeah, I know Cody's one of the people on that show too. So I don't know. I don't. I've never understood the point of Snoop Dogg personally. So,
I mean, I enjoyed Snoop Dogg in 1991 or 94 or whatever, but yeah, I don't get his appearance. His appearance doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, the celebrities they've had on so far. I mean, they basically like have had Snoop Dogg. They've had Kevin Smith and Jay Muse. They've had Mike Tyson, and they've had Shaq on there. All stars that are like really past their prime, really. I would much rather if they're going to incorporate celebrities, I'd rather that be people that are hot now in the moment.
Or
And they don't seem able to do that.
even if they're, gonna do somebody a celebrity, how about make it more than a one-off appearance that doesn't lead anywhere? Like, I mean, we had the whole Brandy versus whatever Shaq's friend's name was. But then she got pregnant. They had to derail that. The Mike Tyson Jericho thing went nowhere.
Hmm.
I mean, the Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, that was just a one-off for the debut episode. But that also went nowhere. Unless these celebrity appearances are going to actually lead to something, there's no point in having them.
Right, and I really don't think that having washed up celebrities helps anything anyway.
I mean, I got the Mike Tyson one. He was training for a fight and everything. Um,
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That was ridiculous, though. We know that was ridiculous. We know, him and Roy Williams facing each other. How many years after they really should have faced each other? That's just
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
it was a stupid comeback for a guy that hadn't boxed in what, 15 years, 20 years, something like
something like
that.
that. Yeah.
And well, it was 98, so it was, a long damn time. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I don't know. And then the Shaq thing, I don't know if that got derailed because of Brandy's pregnancy or what, but we just need a payoff if we're going to put celebrities on there.
I still expect Shaq and Cody to have a match at some point, but I'm not. But I'm just not sure it's a good idea.
Yeah, true.
Um, Speaking of Cody, he's facing Matt Sydal for some unknown reason.
Yeah, isn't that like the main event or something? No,
No,
Phoenix and Pentagon is.
no, Phoenix and Omega is.
Omega, yeah.
But yeah, Cody versus Matt Sydal is a match that maybe 5 years ago I would have cared about.
I don't even know if I would have cared then.
That's why I said maybe.
I mean, I think the last time I felt like Seidel was relevant. Well, I did like his run in uh,
Impact
Impact, mainly because he gave us a dude from the North, Josh. Uh, um, no,
Alexander,
yeah, no, not Josh Alexander, the other guy,
Ethan
Ethan
Page.
Page, yeah, Mr.
That's true.
Arrogance
Yeah,
himself,
that's right. He did bring Ethan as a heater at first, didn't he?
right? So, but and I kind of enjoyed that third eye gimmick. But ultimately, I can't. I think the last time I ever even cared about Matt Sydal was when he was with Ricochet.
And if I was going to care about Matt Sydal, him slipping off the top rope, his very first appearance for AEW, totally killed it.
Yeah, no matter how much they talk about him being a great wrestler and everything, that's all I can think of when I see him.
Me too.
And they push him every time he's on screen. They push him like he's one of the greatest that's ever wrestled in, but all I can see is him slipping.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is. Um, and then we have an 8-man tag, which just irritates the hell out of me because I'm
Hmm.
not a big fan of 8-man tags anyway. But we got the Young Bucks and SCU taking on the Acclaimed and Hybrid too. The only thing I can think of this is that they're going to use this to set up Young Bucks defending against SCU.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense either because SCU hasn't really been a thing in a while. Um, this will be the first time we get to see the Acclaimed on actual TV, isn't it? In a match?
No, they faced the Young Bucks 2 weeks ago on Dynamite for the tag titles.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Shows
did
you
you not
how
watch that?
shows you how unimportant that match ended up being.
It was actually a pretty good match, but yeah, the Bucks won with their BTE trigger.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And I'm not a fan of that whole rapping gimmick that the Acclaim's trying to do.
Yeah, it's pretty lame, but they did have like I did like the rap video they did before the match. That was actually a lot better than his freestyles he does before his
Yeah,
matches.
yeah, true. That's true.
And then we have John Moxley returning to Dynamite to do what? Who the hell knows? Um, that's all it says though. Is John Moxley returns to Dynamite?
Which means that he won't be at Wrestle Kingdom,
Correct.
which now we know he will not, absolutely not be defending his title again.
Well, he could. You're right because he'd have to quarantine to come back in the country too, wouldn't he?
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So yeah, that means he won't be there. You're right.
So I mean, and we're hitting that 6 month mark since they started wrestling again. So he's going to be stripped of it again,
Yeah, I don't know what the point is now at this point.
of
I
not
mean,
taking the belt.
because really at this point, whoever wins Kenta versus Kojima should just be the U.S. champion.
Right, exactly.
Because it would be really dumb to have another tournament for the title when we already had a tournament to
For the
determine the number
number
one
one
contender.
contender.
And we said that, and you and I said at the time that they should just make it for the title, and they didn't, which was dumb.
I still am confused why they put the belt back on him the second time to begin with.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
When they stripped him of it the first time,
Was your remember the first time because of the typhoon or whatever?
well, the MRSA injury too. Is the typhoon he couldn't get there, and then he had that MRSA infection.
Right, but he was stripped because of the typhoon or the tsunami or whatever it was.
Okay.
Because he wasn't able to make a scheduled title defense.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because those are the two rules for being stripped in New Japan is that you don't defend the title for 6 months, or you're scheduled to defend it and you're not able to make that defense.
Okay. Well, and
And then we go ahead.
I was gonna say, and he hasn't had a title defense scheduled, so
Correct, but like you said, it's been they returned like middle of July, right?
right.
And
So it's been
now
6 months.
yeah, so it's been almost a full 6 months now. So really, he should have that title stripped from him.
Right.
Then we've got the Inner Circle versus the Inner Circle as Jake Hager takes on Wardlow.
That one confuses me. I mean, I know that they've got their boyhood angst they got to get out, but
Their boyhood angst.
I I I
That's
don't
great.
I don't understand the whole Wardlow versus because their fight's not against Wardlow. I mean, even Santana came out and said, or was it Ortiz? One of them did, that Wardlow, you just stay being Wardlow. We hate him, not you.
Yeah, but Hager and Wardlow hate each other.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of like an alpha male type thing. Like these two big behemoths, they just can't coexist. So they have to try to settle it to decide to figure out who's better than the other.
yeah. Okay, all right. That makes some kind of sense in a weird way.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun match though.
Oh, it will be. Two hosses going out there and beating the hell out of each other.
And then we've got the AEW Women's World Championship as Hikaru Shida defends against Abaddon.
I'm
I have
looking
no
for,
idea what to think of this match. I'm a huge
yeah.
fan of Shida,
Well, that's what I was
but
gonna say.
Abaddon I've barely seen at all. But she's just kind of like this beast type competitor. That's just like a really weird demonic thing. I really have no idea what to think of this match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there with you. It's like I'm excited to see Sheeta, but I don't know what to think about Abaddon. I'm not sure that I really like Abaddon,
Hmm.
but then again, I haven't seen enough of Abaddon to really make a determination of whether I like her or not.
Right. Yeah, it's an enigma. It really is. So I mean, I guess we'll have to see how that match goes. But um, she's had been the champion for quite a while now. I think since Double or Nothing, right?
Did she beat? Yeah, maybe. I know it was earlier this year, but I can't see her
No, it was
losing
early.
to
No,
Abaddon.
it was last year, not this year.
So she's been champ. Well, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, we're 2 days into this year, so um, but I I can't see her losing to Abaddon.
Well, if she doesn't lose to Abaddon, then who would she lose to then? Because she's already beat Britt Baker. She's already beat um, Nyla Rose twice.
Anna Jay had two good matches with her,
Yep. So she beat her. She's beaten her.
but I'm just saying, with Anna Jay having two good matches with her, maybe a third one's a charm. They're really starting to push Anna Jay,
Yeah, and that would be a way to get a title with somebody in the Dark Order as well. That's a possibility.
or maybe a returning Chris Nylander.
Yeah, but she won't be back to like April or something.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
And then she's already beaten what the hell is that chick's name? Thunder Rosa.
Right.
No. So I mean there really isn't a lot there for her to defend the title against if she's not going to lose it to Abaddon. So I would not be surprised they say a title change here.
Yeah, I hope not. And the reason I hope not is because I just don't know enough about Abaddon to know if I want that to happen.
Well, and the other thing,
Have we
you know,
seen
the
Abaddon in the ring with anybody except the only one I can remember is her match against Anna Jay.
I think she's been mostly wrestling on Dark, so you and I haven't seen her.
Okay.
Um, the other thing to consider about with Sheeta is when's the last time she was able to go back to Japan to see her husband too?
Good point.
this this might be a way to get her off TV for a few weeks, so she gets to go back to Japan for a few weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Um, and then we've got the main event, which we've seen these two in the main event for a championship on AEW Dark before. That was for the AAA Mega Championship.
Okay, it
And
is for the is this for the AEW or the AAA?
This is
Either
for the
one.
AEW, but I'm saying that we saw them before wrestle for the Mega Championship. Now we're going to get to see them wrestle for the AEW World Championship as Kenny Omega defends against Ray Phoenix. I don't know if Kenny Omega is still the AAA Omega champion or not because he did defend that title at Triple Mania, and I didn't see Triple Mania, so I didn't look at the results, so I'm not sure if he lost the title to Laredo Kid or not.
Let's find out. Jeff Jarrett currently has the shortest reign in 83 days. That's not what I wanted to see.
Jeff Jarrett has what title?
The AAA.
Jeff Jarrett was AAA Omega champion.
Yeah, for
Oh my
the
God,
shortest reign in history of 83 days.
that's not a very short reign. That's pretty impressive.
83 days? That's 2 months, dude.
I know, but I'm saying that we've seen like champions in WWE
Right,
last one day
right. Yeah, one
or,
day.
or a minute. I mean, Yokozuna's first reign was like a minute and a half, right?
Something like that. Yeah, Kenny Omega is still the champion.
Okay.
442 days. Daga has held the Latin American champion. Yeah, that's what he has for
Hmm.
442 plus days.
Huh.
Laredo Kid has the Cruiserweight Championship. He's had it 687 days. Holy crap, they don't give up their belts very often.
Nope.
The Lucha Brothers are still the tag team champions. They've had it 567 days.
Yeah, we should see. I should see if there's a way we can watch Triple Mania.
Taya Velke is the Reina
Once,
de
once.
Reinas champion. She's had it 476 days. Beat Tessa Blanchard for it.
Taya.
Wow. I mean, they do not give up their belts very often. October 19th, 2019 is when Omega won it.
That would be. As much as people were saying how great it would be to have Tessa Blanchard join AEW when her contract was up with Impact,
I'm glad she
I,
didn't.
I would love to see Taya Valkyrie come in. Taya taking on like Sheeta or taking on Rio or taking on Nyla Rose or taking on Brooke Baker would just be amazing.
You know what
Or
the
Britt
worst
Baker,
part of,
sorry.
you know what the worst part about Jeff Jarrett's reign? It happened in 2011. He appeared on TNA with the belt.
I don't even remember that.
I don't either, but he referred to it as the Mexican Championship.
Oh,
Johnny
of
Mundo.
course, of course he did.
Johnny Mundo held it for 313 days.
That I knew.
And then Jarrett held it again in 2018.
That's sad. That is really sad.
Right? But at least Jarrett lost it to Phoenix.
That must have been when he was still trying to get that. What
G-
was that organization? Global Force Wrestling off
yeah,
the ground.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And then
So anyway, go.
Phoenix won it from him, held it 420 days, and Omega won it from Phoenix and has held it ever since.
Yep.
Jesus, Omega's had 4 title defenses.
In 442 days.
Yeah, and looking at these title defenses here, this one, a guy held it for 182 days, had 2 defenses. This one, 195 days, 1 defense. So they don't they don't defend it very often.
No, they usually have like a lot more six-man tag matches than they have, because it's Lucha Libre than they do those singles matches.
Right. El Texano held it 2 times for a combined total of 1,096 days.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was like 900 or something, so it was over 1,000. Okay.
Kenny Omega's in 4th place on that list. There's only been 11 champions since the belt debuted.
I remember when Texano appeared on Lucha Underground, and they were like, he's like the greatest AAA champion ever, holding a title for twice for this whatever that length of days what you just said was, and I'm like, this guy?
Well, I remember him when he showed up on MLW and we were laughing about him.
Yeah. All right. So anything else for this week?
No, but I'm just weirded out about the fact that they've hold the belts this long. Just
It's pretty
kind of,
cool, huh?
yeah. I mean, you don't see that anymore. I mean, you normally see like if someone's a champion for a couple of months. That's why Jericho's reign was so impressive, and even Moxley's, because you don't see that in professional wrestling these days. It's a couple of months and they change champions.
That's funny you said that because when I said Jarrett held the title for 83 days, really, you're like, that's only 2 months, dude.
Yeah, and I didn't even it didn't dawn on me. I was just like 2 months, and but you're right. I mean, how many one-day champions do we have?
Exactly.
I mean, Kane only held the belt, and that's weird, but he's only held the WWE title one time for one day. He was
Yep.
he held the big gold belt.
Yeah, he beat Rey Mysterio for that. The Rey Mysterio won it. So Rey Mysterio's had like two different times where he's only held the title for like a few hours, right?
Yeah, because he lost the WWE title within 3 hours.
Yep. And then
Yeah,
he lost the title to Kane winning the money with the Money in the Bank thing, like in one of the SummerSlams or something.
yeah, like a couple of minutes. I thought he held that one. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Well, yeah, I got nothing else.
Okay.
So,
So so I'll be back with you both tomorrow morning and Tuesday morning, and then Jeff and I will be back with you next time we do Wrestle Kingdom, which would, I guess it's probably more likely to be next Sunday.
right.
Um,
But
and so go ahead.
guys, do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor. You get access to all our archives and everything that we've done since day one, including some exclusive stuff. Also, if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you can find out whenever it is we are live, because we don't even know.
And we're planning on doing Dark Phoenix next Sunday as well, probably, since we were supposed to do it today, but the life got in the way. So stay tuned. Make sure you stay tuned to all the other LOP radio shows out there, and enjoy your wrestling, guys. That's all we've got. We'll try to do better next time. This is Shane saying long days, pleasant nights, and Jeff saying
Goodbye.